What makes a military leader truly legendary? Is it their unparalleled brilliance on the battlefield, their ability to inspire undying loyalty, or the sheer audacity to dream of reshaping the world? Throughout history, there have been generals who didn't just lead armies. They crafted the destinies of entire civilizations, altered the course of history, and etched their names into the annals of time. They were not mere tacticians. They were visionaries who turned impossible odds into monumental victories. Today, we'll unravel the stories of 5 of the greatest generals in history, figures whose brilliance transcended centuries and whose strategies are still studied and admired. Imagine leading an army across thousands of miles, conquering vast lands, and building an empire so extensive that it connects the corners of the known world. This was Alexander the Great, a Macedonian king who never lost a single battle and carved out one of the largest empires of the ancient era before his untimely death at just 32 years old. Then we have Julius Caesar, the man who transformed Rome from a republic into an empire through both his military conquests and political cunning. Caesar's campaigns in Gaul didn't just expand Rome's borders, they cemented his place as one of the most formidable leaders the world has ever known. But history isn't just about European leaders. Genghis Khan, the founder of the Mongol Empire, redefined warfare itself. With revolutionary strategies and unmatched leadership, he united the fractious Mongol tribes and unleashed them onto the world, creating the largest contiguous empire in history. And how could we forget Napoleon Bonaparte, the Corsican who rose from obscurity to become the Emperor of France? His military campaigns reshaped Europe, and his tactical genius continues to influence military studies to this day. Finally, there's Hannibal Barca, the Carthaginian general who shocked Rome by crossing the Alps with war elephants, turning one of history's most powerful empires into a trembling giant. These 5 generals didn't just win battles. They changed the rules of war, the shape of nations, and the destiny of millions. Their stories are filled with courage, ingenuity, and ambition. So who were they really, and what made their minds tick? Let's delve into their lives, conquests, and legacies, and discover what it takes to become a true legend of history. Alexander the Great, the conqueror who reached the ends of the known world. Alexander the Great's story is one of extraordinary ambition, courage, and genius. Born in 356 BCE in the ancient kingdom of Macedon, he was destined for greatness from the start. As the son of King Philip II and Queen Olympias, Alexander inherited not only a royal lineage, but also a powerful legacy. Philip had transformed Macedon into a formidable military power, but it was Alexander who would take it to heights never before imagined. His education under the tutelage of the philosopher Aristotle gave him a sharp intellect and an insatiable curiosity about the world, a rare combination that would serve him well as both a military leader and a ruler. By the time he ascended to the throne at just 20 years old, Alexander had already demonstrated remarkable leadership and military prowess, quelling rebellions and securing his authority over a fractious kingdom. With Macedon firmly under his control, Alexander set his sights on an audacious goal: the conquest of the Persian Empire, the most powerful empire of his time. His campaign began in 334 BCE with an army that was outnumbered and undersupplied, but Alexander's unmatched strategic brilliance would turn the tide in his favor time and again. At the Battle of Granicus, he led his troops to a decisive victory, showcasing his ability to adapt to battlefield conditions and inspire unwavering loyalty among his soldiers. The victory opened the gates to Asia Minor, and Alexander quickly set about liberating Greek cities under Persian rule, solidifying his image as both a conqueror and a liberator. Perhaps his most famous victory came at the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BCE, where he faced Darius III, the Persian king. Outnumbered, but not outmaneuvered, Alexander employed innovative tactics, such as the use of oblique formations, to exploit weaknesses in the Persian army. The result was a crushing defeat for Darius, marking the beginning of the end for the Persian Empire. Within a few years, Alexander had taken control of Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, the heart of the Persian realm. Yet, his ambitions didn't stop there. He marched his army through the harsh deserts and treacherous mountain passes of Central Asia, pushing the boundaries of his empire into modern-day Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. Alexander's campaigns were not just about conquest. They were a fusion of cultures. He encouraged intermarriage between his soldiers and local populations, adopted Persian customs, and founded over 20 cities named Alexandria, which became centers of learning and trade. His vision of a unified world where Greek and Eastern cultures coexisted was revolutionary for his time. However, his relentless drive also took a toll on his men. By the time he reached the banks of the Euphrates River in India, his army, weary and longing for home, refused to march further. Reluctantly, Alexander turned back, his dreams of further conquest unfulfilled. Despite his military brilliance, Alexander's empire was short-lived. In 323 BCE, just a decade after his conquest of Persia, he died in Babylon at the age of 32. The cause of his death remains a mystery, shrouded in theories of poisoning, fever, or exhaustion. What followed was a rapid disintegration of his empire, as his generals, known as the Diadochi, carved it into smaller kingdoms. Yet, Alexander's legacy endured. His campaigns spread Greek culture across 3 continents, laying the groundwork for the Hellenistic period, an era of unprecedented cultural and scientific achievement. In warfare, Alexander set the gold standard for centuries to come. His ability to inspire loyalty, his tactical genius, and his relentless pursuit of excellence made him a role model for military leaders from Julius Caesar to Napoleon Bonaparte. He is remembered not only as a conqueror but also as a visionary who dreamed of a world without boundaries. Today, Alexander the Great stands as a testament to the power of ambition and the enduring impact of one man's vision on the course of history. Julius Caesar, the visionary who changed the fate of Rome. Julius Caesar is one of history's most iconic figures, a man whose life was marked by ambition, brilliance, and an indomitable drive to reshape the world. Born in 100 BCE into a patrician family, Caesar's early life was a precarious balance between privilege and danger. His family claimed descent from the goddess Venus, but their political fortunes had waned by the time of his birth. Nevertheless, young Caesar demonstrated an early flair for leadership, aligning himself with powerful figures in Roman politics and surviving the turbulent purges of the dictator Sulla by sheer cunning and luck. These early experiences of instability shaped his belief that power had to be seized, not inherited. Caesar's career began modestly, serving as a junior officer in Asia Minor and earning the civic crown, one of Rome's highest military honors, for saving the lives of his comrades in battle. However, it was his rise through the political ranks that set the stage for his future greatness. He became a skilled orator, a savvy politician, and a master of public relations. By the time he was elected consul in 59 BCE, Caesar had already begun forging alliances that would define his career, including the first triumvirate with Pompey and Crassus, 2 of Rome's most powerful men. This alliance granted him the resources and authority to embark on a series of military campaigns that would change the fate of Rome forever. Caesar's military genius came to the forefront during his campaigns in Gaul. Over nearly a decade, from 58 to 50 BCE, he led Roman legions in a series of conquests that extended Rome's territories to the Atlantic Ocean. Facing fierce resistance from tribal leaders like Vercingetorix, Caesar demonstrated unparalleled strategic and tactical brilliance. He adapted his tactics to overcome challenges such as guerrilla warfare, treacherous terrain, and numerical disadvantages. His victory at the Siege of Alesia in 52 BCE was a masterpiece of military engineering and strategy, where he successfully besieged a fortified city while simultaneously defending against a massive relief army. These victories not only brought vast wealth and prestige to Rome, but also solidified Caesar's reputation as one of the greatest commanders of all time. However, Caesar's ambitions went beyond mere conquest. His success in Gaul brought him immense popularity among the Roman people, but also sowed distrust among the Senate and his former ally Pompey. When the Senate ordered him to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen, Caesar made a fateful decision. In 49 BCE, he crossed the Rubicon River with his legions, a symbolic act of defiance that plunged Rome into a civil war. The phrase, "crossing the Rubicon," has since become synonymous with making an irreversible decision. Caesar's military prowess once again proved decisive, as he defeated Pompey and his allies in a series of battles, culminating in his victory at the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BCE. With the Civil War won, Caesar returned to Rome not just as a victor but as a reformer. He declared himself dictator for life, a move that fundamentally altered the structure of Roman governance. Caesar initiated sweeping reforms aimed at stabilizing and strengthening the empire. He reorganized the calendar, creating the Julian calendar, which forms the basis of the calendar we use today. He enacted social and economic policies to reduce debt, increase employment, and extend citizenship to people in the provinces, effectively transforming Rome from a city-state into a multicultural empire. Yet, his accumulation of power and his disregard for traditional republican values alienated many in the Senate, ultimately leading to his assassination on the Ides of March in 44 BCE. Caesar's death marked the end of the Roman Republic and set the stage for the rise of the Roman Empire under his adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus. Despite his tragic end, Caesar's impact on Rome and the world cannot be overstated. He was a military genius, a political visionary, and a cultural icon whose life and legacy continue to fascinate and inspire. From his conquests in Gaul to his audacious crossing of the Rubicon, Julius Caesar remains a towering figure in history, a man who transformed Rome and left an indelible mark on the course of civilization. Genghis Khan, the mastermind behind the world's largest empire. Genghis Khan, born as Temujin in 1162 on the harsh steppes of Mongolia, is a figure who looms large in history. A man whose vision and ruthless determination forged the largest contiguous empire the world has ever seen. His early life was anything but privileged. Born into a minor Mongol tribe, Temujin experienced immense hardship after his father's assassination, leaving his family destitute and vulnerable. These years of struggle shaped his character, teaching him the value of resilience, loyalty, and strategic thinking. From these humble beginnings, he would rise to unite the fractious Mongol tribes, a feat many believed impossible in a land torn apart by clan rivalries and endless warfare. The unification of the Mongol tribes was a monumental achievement that required both cunning diplomacy and sheer force. Temujin displayed a unique ability to inspire loyalty, building an army not based on tribal ties but on meritocracy, a revolutionary concept for the time. He rewarded skill and loyalty regardless of background, creating a disciplined and cohesive force. By 1206, Temujin had consolidated the Mongol tribes under his rule and taken the title of Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. This marked the beginning of an unprecedented era of conquest that would reshape the political and cultural landscape of Eurasia. Genghis Khan's military tactics were revolutionary, combining speed, mobility, and psychological warfare to devastating effect. The Mongol army, comprised primarily of highly skilled horse archers, was unmatched in its ability to strike quickly and decisively. They employed deceptive strategies, such as feigned retreats, to lure enemies into ambushes, and their use of intelligence networks allowed them to anticipate enemy movements and exploit weaknesses. Genghis Khan's willingness to adopt and integrate foreign technologies and ideas also gave his forces an edge. He incorporated engineers from conquered territories to build siege weapons, enabling the Mongols to overcome even the most formidable fortifications. Under Genghis Khan's leadership, the Mongol Empire expanded at an astonishing rate. Beginning with the conquest of the Xia and Jin dynasties in northern China, his armies swept across Central Asia, toppling the powerful Khwarezmian Empire in a campaign that showcased his ruthlessness and strategic brilliance. When a Khwarezmian governor insulted Genghis by massacring a Mongol trade caravan, he retaliated with a ferocity that left entire cities in ruins. His conquests extended westward into Persia and the Caucasus, northward into Siberia, and eastward into Korea, uniting a vast and diverse array of peoples under his rule. Genghis Khan's empire was not built on brute force alone. His governance was as innovative as his military tactics. He established a legal code, known as the Yasa, which emphasized loyalty, discipline, and the protection of trade and commerce. The Mongol Empire became a hub of cultural and economic exchange, facilitating the movement of goods, ideas, and technologies along the Silk Road. Genghis Khan's policies promoted religious tolerance, allowing his diverse subjects to practice their faiths freely, which helped maintain stability across his vast territories. By the time of his death in 1227, Genghis Khan had transformed the Mongol people from a collection of warring tribes into a unified and formidable force that controlled a landmass stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea. His legacy endured long after his passing, as his descendants continued to expand the empire, eventually covering nearly 24 million square kilometers and encompassing regions from China to Eastern Europe. While his conquests were often marked by extraordinary brutality, they also ushered in an era of unprecedented connectivity and cultural exchange. Genghis Khan's impact on history is immeasurable. He was not only a conqueror, but also a unifier who brought together disparate peoples and cultures under a single banner. His innovative military strategies and governance laid the foundation for one of the most remarkable empires in history, and his legacy as a leader and visionary continues to captivate and inspire to this day. He said, Napoleon Bonaparte, the emperor who redefined Europe. Napoleon Bonaparte's journey from a young Corsican outsider to the Emperor of France is one of the most remarkable stories in history. Born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, just a year after it was annexed by France, Napoleon grew up as a determined and ambitious youth in a family of modest nobility. Sent to mainland France for his education, he quickly excelled in military studies, demonstrating a natural aptitude for strategy and leadership. However, it was during the turbulent years of the French Revolution that Napoleon's meteoric rise truly began. As France descended into chaos, with the monarchy overthrown and Europe's monarchies uniting against the fledgling republic, Napoleon seized the opportunity to make his mark. His first taste of fame came during the Siege of Toulon in 1793, where his innovative tactics led to a crucial victory for the revolutionary forces. Recognized for his brilliance, he was promoted to brigadier general at just 24 years old. From there, Napoleon's career skyrocketed. In 1796, he was given command of the French Army of Italy, a ragtag force that had suffered repeated defeats. Napoleon transformed them into a disciplined and motivated fighting force, leading a series of dazzling victories against larger Austrian and Piedmontese armies. His bold maneuvers, such as dividing his forces to confuse and outflank the enemy, showcased a level of tactical ingenuity that was unprecedented at the time. These campaigns not only secured French dominance in northern Italy, but also brought Napoleon immense fame and wealth. Napoleon's tactical brilliance extended far beyond traditional battlefield maneuvers. He was a master of deception, speed, and adaptability, often turning seemingly hopeless situations into stunning triumphs. One of his most famous victories came at the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, known as the Battle of the Three Emperors. Facing a numerically superior coalition of Russian and Austrian forces, Napoleon feigned weakness to lure his opponents into a trap. When the moment was right, he launched a devastating counterattack, shattering the enemy's lines and achieving one of the most decisive victories in military history. This battle, along with others such as Marengo and Jena Auerstedt, cemented his reputation as a military genius. Napoleon's impact went far beyond his battlefield successes. As first consul and later emperor of France, he reshaped Europe through both conquest and reform. His military campaigns brought much of the continent under French control, spreading the revolutionary ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. At the same time, he enacted sweeping domestic reforms that left a lasting legacy. The Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive legal framework, became the foundation for legal systems across Europe and beyond. He reformed education, established centralized administration, and promoted meritocracy, breaking the old feudal systems that had dominated Europe for centuries. However, Napoleon's relentless ambition also sowed the seeds of his downfall. His attempt to impose the continental system, a trade blockade against Britain, alienated many of his allies. His invasion of Russia in 1812, one of history's most infamous military blunders, decimated his army due to harsh weather, logistical failures, and fierce Russian resistance. Despite these setbacks, Napoleon proved remarkably resilient, returning from exile on Elba in 1815 to reclaim power in what became known as the 100 Days. His final defeat at the Battle of Waterloo, however, marked the end of his reign and the Napoleonic Wars. Napoleon's legacy is both profound and complex. He was a conqueror who redrew the map of Europe and a reformer who modernized governance and law. His military tactics revolutionized warfare, and his vision of a unified Europe influenced generations of leaders. To this day, Napoleon Bonaparte remains a towering figure in history, a man whose extraordinary rise and dramatic fall continue to fascinate and inspire. Through his ambition, genius, and indomitable will, he forever changed the course of Europe and the world. Hannibal Barca, the tactical genius who defied Rome. Hannibal Barca, the Carthaginian general whose name became synonymous with military brilliance, remains one of the most celebrated tacticians in history. Born in 247 BCE during Carthage's struggle to recover from its defeat in the First Punic War, Hannibal grew up in a world overshadowed by Rome's growing dominance. His father, Hamilcar Barca, instilled in him an unrelenting hatred of Rome, making him swear as a boy to be its eternal enemy. This vow would define Hannibal's life and lead to one of the most extraordinary military campaigns in history, the Second Punic War, where Hannibal came closer than anyone else to breaking Rome's iron grip on the Mediterranean. Hannibal's genius first became evident when he assumed command of Carthaginian forces in Iberia, modern-day Spain, after his father's death. Recognizing Rome's intent to dominate the region, Hannibal preemptively attacked the Roman-aligned city of Saguntum in 218 BCE, igniting the Second Punic War. But Hannibal wasn't content to merely fight on the fringes of Rome's influence. He set his sights on the heart of the Republic itself. What followed was a daring and audacious plan, an invasion of Italy by crossing the seemingly impassable Alps. This move was not just a military gamble. It was a statement of intent, a bold declaration that Carthage would take the fight to Rome's doorstep. The crossing of the Alps remains one of the most legendary feats in military history. Hannibal led an army of approximately 50,000 soldiers, 9,000 cavalry, and 37 war elephants through treacherous terrain, freezing temperatures, and hostile tribes. The journey was brutal, and Hannibal's forces suffered immense losses, but his leadership and determination kept the army together. When he finally descended into Italy, he emerged with a battle-hardened force that was ready to challenge Rome's supremacy. His presence in Italy stunned the Roman Senate, which had never anticipated such an audacious maneuver. Hannibal's tactical genius came to the forefront in a series of battles that showcased his ability to outthink and outmaneuver his enemies. At the Battle of Trebia in 218 BCE, he used a feigned retreat to lure the Roman army into a trap, inflicting a devastating defeat. The following year, at Lake Trasimene, Hannibal orchestrated one of the largest ambushes in military history, annihilating a Roman army and further cementing his reputation as a master strategist. However, his crowning achievement was the Battle of Cannae in 2216 BCE. Facing a much larger Roman force, Hannibal employed a double envelopment tactic, encircling and destroying the Roman army in a masterstroke of battlefield planning. The scale of the Roman losses at Cannae was staggering, and the battle remains a textbook example of tactical perfection studied in military academies worldwide. Despite his victories, Hannibal faced an insurmountable challenge: the sheer resilience and resources of Rome. While his campaign in Italy inflicted heavy losses and kept Rome on the defensive for over a decade, he lacked the reinforcements and logistical support needed to deliver a decisive blow. Rome's strategy of avoiding direct confrontation and targeting Carthaginian holdings elsewhere, particularly in Iberia and North Africa, eventually forced Hannibal to return to Carthage. In 22 BCE, he faced the Roman general Scipio Africanus at the Battle of Zama. Although Hannibal fought valiantly, he was defeated, and Carthage's power was effectively broken. Hannibal's defeat at Zama did not diminish his legacy. Even in defeat, he remained a symbol of resistance and ingenuity. After the war, he served as a statesman in Carthage, implementing reforms to restore the city's economy. When political enemies forced him into exile, he he became an advisor to foreign kings, continuing to influence the military landscape of the Mediterranean. Hannibal's life ended in 183 BCE, when he took his own life to avoid capture by Roman agents. But his story endured as one of history's greatest testaments to courage, innovation, and determination. Hannibal's impact on military strategy is immeasurable. His ability to outthink and outmaneuver vastly superior forces inspired countless leaders, including Napoleon and Patton. His campaigns demonstrated the power of adaptability, surprise, and psychological warfare, principles that remain cornerstones of modern military doctrine. Hannibal Barca was more than a general. He was a revolutionary mind whose defiance of Rome reshaped the course of history and solidified his place as one of the greatest military leaders of all time. The timeless legacy of history's greatest generals. What unites these five extraordinary generals, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, Napoleon Bonaparte, and Hannibal Barca, is more than just their ability to lead armies. It is their shared traits of ambition, innovation, and an unwavering determination to reshape the world around them. Each of them rose above the constraints of their time, demonstrating not only tactical brilliance, but also an extraordinary vision for what their empires could achieve. They didn't merely fight battles. They redefined what was possible, pushing the boundaries of human achievement in war, governance, and culture. One key trait they all possessed was adaptability. These generals faced challenges that would have broken lesser leaders, whether it was Hannibal's harrowing trek across the Alps, Napoleon's reinvention of battlefield strategy, or Genghis Khan's ability to unify a fragmented people. Each of them thrived in the face of adversity, using creativity and resourcefulness to turn seemingly insurmountable obstacles into stepping stones for success. They also shared an uncanny ability to inspire loyalty and dedication among their followers. Alexander's troops followed him to the edges of the known world. Caesar's legions crossed the Rubicon with him, defying Rome's most sacred laws, and Genghis Khan's warriors were willing to march into the unknown, united by his vision of a Mongol empire. Another hallmark of their greatness was their capacity to think on a grand scale. These generals were not content with short-term victories. They sought to create lasting legacies. Alexander spread Hellenistic culture across 3 continents, blending traditions in a way that reshaped the ancient world. Caesar's reforms transformed Rome into an empire, setting the stage for centuries of prosperity. Genghis Khan's empire became a bridge for trade and cultural exchange, linking East and West like never before. Napoleon's Napoleonic Code revolutionized legal systems, and Hannibal's audacious campaigns forced Rome to evolve into a stronger, more resilient power. But why do their legacies endure? It's because their stories go beyond war. These men symbolize the power of human ambition and the ability to defy the odds. Their victories, strategies, and even their defeats offer lessons that remain relevant to this day. Military academies still study their tactics. Historians still marvel at their audacity. And the world continues to feel the ripple effects of their conquests. They remind us that history is shaped not by those who accept the status quo, but by those who dare to challenge it. As we reflect on these towering figures, it's clear that their lives hold lessons for all of us, regardless of our aspirations. They teach us about the value of leadership, the importance of innovation, and the courage it takes to pursue greatness. Whether we're leading a team, pursuing a dream, or overcoming challenges, we can draw inspiration from their stories and apply their principles to our own lives. Now, it's your turn to share your thoughts. Which of these generals inspires you the most? Who do you think had the greatest impact on history? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you've enjoyed this journey through the lives of history's greatest military leaders, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with friends who love history as much as you do. By joining our community, you help us continue to explore the incredible stories that shaped our world. Together, let's keep the lessons of the past alive for generations to come. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.